Hi there. Before we dive into today's episode, I want to ask you an important question. Are you wondering why your hard work isn't reflecting in your bank account? If so, I've got something that could change the game for you. With my Digital Product Accelerator one-on-one coaching program, I'm on a mission to help entrepreneurs like you bank consistent revenue without sacrificing your time or sanity. Imagine shifting from 90% client-facing work to enjoying consistent revenue from your digital products, all while reclaiming your time. You already know that you don't need another course, and a one-size-fits-all approach isn't going to cut it. What you need is a strategic, long-term plan tailored just for you. So if you're ready to build the profitable, freedom-giving business you've dreamed of, apply to work with me by going to destinycop.com/apply. I cannot wait to learn more about you and your business. Welcome to the Course Creators MBA podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Destiny Kopp, and I help business owners increase their revenue with digital products and automated sales funnels. In this podcast, we tell the stories of ordinary business owners just like you. We talk about their story and how they got started, the challenges they've experienced, and how they overcame them. These are discussions with real people who understand what it's like to own an online course or membership business. Before we begin our show today, I want to let you know that this episode is sponsored by our flagship Course in a Box program, which helps you create your revenue-generating course in less than a week. Course in a Box is available on AppSumo at a special deal, and you can learn more about Course in a Box by visiting the link in the show notes. Let's jump right into our show. And my guest today is Kate All. Kate is the owner and founder of Simple Pin Media, a Pinterest management and marketing company. Through their work with over 700 Pinterest accounts, they take a data-driven approach to crafting a Pinterest strategy that aims to help their clients and students find the perfect person on Pinterest. Kate teaches thousands of people about Pinterest marketing through various speaking engagements and her podcast, The Simple Pin Podcast. Kate, thank you so much for joining me. I'm very excited to jump into this conversation. We were chatting a few minutes before, and I told you how much I absolutely love Pinterest. It's been one of the, from a social media platform, and I know it functions a little different. It's been one of the biggest drivers for growing my business. So I'm very excited to chat with you today.
Yeah, I'm so excited to be here. Thanks so much for having this conversation with me.
So why don't you take a few minutes and tell the audience a little bit more about your entrepreneur journey and how you got to where you are today?
Yeah, back in 2010, I had a friend come to me and ask if I would be willing to do Facebook marketing for her. She had just started her website and it was all around helping people really navigate saving money, especially since the recession had really been pretty deep at that time, how to save money with coupons and deals online. And she said, Facebook has these business pages and I just don't have time to figure out how to use them. So can you help me? So I began to do that and I realized I loved communicating and connecting with an audience. And then she said, well, what about coming on and helping me work on my website? So I got to know all about WordPress, all about how to do affiliate marketing, and started to wade into the waters of Pinterest for her business. And what we found was that it was driving a lot of traffic. Well, also at the same time, our family was going through some of those really big struggles of the recession too, as well. My husband couldn't find a job. We were living on food stamps and unemployment, and that unemployment was running out at the end of 2013. And she said to me, why don't you try to manage people's Pinterest pages because Facebook is now changing? And I looked back at her and I said, that is such a dumb idea. Nobody's going to go for that. And she said, you don't have any other options, so you should just try it. So I spent the next couple of months deep diving into what it would look like to help people understand how to use Pinterest in a marketing way instead of a personal way so that they could get more traffic to their website. So I got a couple beta clients right at the start of 2014. And I told them, tell me every single thing that I'm doing wrong. Tell me everything I'm doing right, what's working for you. And 3 months later, they came back and said, this is amazing. It's such a new diversification of the traffic into my website. And I want to keep going. And I'm going to tell more people about your services. And so it really snowballed from there. 3 clients turned into 6 and 8. And there's a lot of story in between until we get to now. But now we have 120 clients that we work with. And we also teach on the membership side too. So that's how I got into my line of work.
I love that. So she basically said, you don't have any options. So,
yes.
so figure this out. In 2014, remind me, and this is a little bit before the time that I personally started using Pinterest from a business standpoint. What was Pinterest like back then? How, and I know that it's changed a lot. Was it just you putting together pins and driving the traffic to their website, or what exactly were you doing at that point with their Pinterest management?
Yeah, in 2014, Pinterest had a chronological feed to where you could pin something anytime and people would see it. It was like this amazing faucet of traffic. And then Pinterest, right around 2015, started to get promoted pins. So they had to change up their algorithm a little bit and they moved away from a chronological feed into a smart feed. So then it became more about a search and discovery platform instead of just this kind of ticker of pins that went through. So we really had to help people figure out how to capture the traffic, both in their images, but also in their keywords to be very strategic like they were on Google. So it was this change from, we were really used to social media platforms starting with this chronological feed because it generated a lot of excitement and you could get a lot of traffic. And then as they slowly moved to this ads platform, you see that change. So we saw that in 2014 and 2015. And you could still pin, just a basic image that would lead back to your website, but you needed to be more intentional about how you were catching people and really hitting them at this aha moment. And then Pinterest really has changed over the years to be a place where it's still search and discovery. It's not like Instagram, not like Facebook at all, but it's really helping people to open up Pinterest and have that main feed that they see be very curated to their interests and who they followed. And then, of course, now peppered in with ads.
So let's talk about that for a little bit, because I'm not sure that not everybody listening here might not know the difference between Pinterest and maybe like Instagram and how it functions. Can you walk through that a little bit?
Yeah, definitely. So when we go to Instagram, we're going there because we hope to get lost in the stories of people's lives. We follow people and we either scroll through the feed or we move through stories and we're meeting people really where they're at in the moment. And if we don't see it over there in that moment, then it has passed. It may be something you'll never see again. Whereas when people go to Pinterest, they don't really care about you. They care about a solution to their problem, or they want to dream into the future, or they want to look for products that they can integrate into everyday life. And so the big distinguisher is people go to Instagram to follow somebody, maybe an influencer. And people go to Pinterest because it's quiet. There's not a lot of conversation. The joke is it's the introvert's platform. And we see the habits over there very similar to Google, but you get pictures instead of a bunch of words. And so that's how we distinguish the two. You're really using them for two very, very different purposes.
So in 2015, things started to change with Pinterest. Walk us through some of the next few years and tell us a little bit about how you migrated or when you added online courses or your membership. I know you have a membership today. So walk us through the evolution of your business from 2015 to what it looks like today.
Yeah. So in 2015, people were still struggling with how do I go from a personal Pinterest user, because Pinterest had started in 2010 and a lot of people had adopted to it really quickly as this place to go find the ideas that were just kind of like magical. People would say, oh man, these are such great aha tips or life hacks or any of that. And so businesses were trying to figure out, okay, how do we integrate into that? And one of the things we saw in 2015, 2016, 2017 was that Pinterest was changing all the time. And so in 2015, right at the end, beginning of 2016, I thought, well, I'm going to create a course to teach people how to use Pinterest in a really effective way that can hopefully withstand the changes, right? Like I won't have to do as many changes. I can teach people and they can see how to use Pinterest in the right way instead of what I was seeing around kind of the internet was all these different explanations for how Pinterest worked. And some were really getting people into the weeds of Pinterest and they were spending hours and hours and hours on Pinterest marketing and not as many hours on their business. So I wanted to create a course that felt like a roadmap to work people through Pinterest marketing in a way that kept building one on the other, on the other, on the other. Well, the weird thing for me at the time was that I had grown my clients and my client work and I had a team and that was going really well. And so I wanted to be able to also take that data and that experience I had with all these clients and put it into a course. So I opened up, I called it the Simple Pin Master Course. I opened it up in 2016. And I launched it through a webinar model and I loved it, but then Pinterest changed. And then I would have to go back and change all these videos or I'd have to re-record them. And people would get really frustrated because in the video, I might've described that the 3 dots were in this location, but Pinterest had moved it to another location. And so I found that it was going to be a course that was going to have to be updated every 6 months. So we updated every 6 months until late 2018 when I realized this model wasn't really working for Pinterest anymore because Pinterest wasn't evergreen. It wasn't something that stayed one way and then it kind of kept going for at least, I could get at least 2 years, right? Out of these videos, I could really only get 6 months. And sometimes I would record them, release an update, and Pinterest would change the next week. And so what I found for me in the course model was that it was becoming really labor intensive and wasn't really hitting students where they needed to hit. And that's when we moved to a membership model because we realized we could still have a learning library. We could still have this tons of videos and courses and all of that. But what people needed was that coaching through the changes. And I think that's what's unique about creating a course around social media was that I just learned that I was also getting caught in the weeds as a course creator and I needed to pop out of it and be a little more nimble and agile to teach. And so we moved to that model and it just felt so much better for us as far as Pinterest changing all the time. And through this time too, from 2015 to now, Pinterest has added their ads platform and that's changed a ton. And then they added video into it. And then they now have story pins. So I think I learned a lot about really how to serve people through a course with something that was ever changing. It was like a moving target. I just couldn't hit on it. And I felt like I was spending so much time updating and not as much time really hustling and getting new customers.
And I can completely relate to what you're saying because I don't do it right now, but I used to do Facebook ads management and also had a Facebook ads course, and it was constantly changing. And I was always so frustrated about it. So can definitely relate to that. And I have also questions about the story pins and the video and all that. But one question I have for you right now is, tell us a little bit about how you designed your membership and when did you launch your membership?
Yeah, I launched my membership in May of 2019. Oh, I feel like the years run together.
Yeah.
I believe it was May of 2019. And I wanted it initially to be self-hosted. So we have a WordPress site and we used Access Ally and we built it on our website where it would have a learning library. And then it would have a coaching element of every 2 weeks we would meet with them. And then we would have a community forum, a Facebook group where people could ask questions and we could share up to date changes on Pinterest or any news that had come out. And that was really good up until probably about 6 months ago where we did switch our membership to Kajabi because we wanted to get away from self-hosting because there was so much coding. And I just feel like the tech can make you can just drown in the tech basically and get so caught up in all that frustration. So we moved to Kajabi, and that has been so much better, and actually a lot better experience for our students as well, because it's just very straightforward and very user friendly.
And I know that a lot of people listening, they're like, should I host it on my own website, or should I, use a platform like Teachable or Kajabi? And I always, say, go with the people who know what they're doing, the platform, so you don't have to worry about all that back end stuff. And I've done a lot of these interviews, Kate, and you're not the only person that has told me that and has told, kind of walked us through why you made that switch. So in your membership, let's talk about a little bit about your traffic strategies. How do students find you, or how, what are you doing to get people into your funnel? Do you keep it open all the time? Is it evergreen, or do you have specific launches that you're doing?
Yeah, this has been such a great question, or a great, I guess, experience for us to move through with so it's called The Collective, and it's really centered around organic Pinterest marketing. Well, I have to say, we just started a second membership just about Pinterest ads. So what we're doing, which is really interesting, is with The Collective, we did an open cart all the time. We thought, we want people to ebb and flow. We want people to come in and out. And so what we'll do is we will start with lead magnets that are free, really robust, and take them through an email nurture sequence, and then offer them a code at the end that's a discounted code to get them into the membership. And we have a pretty strong email strategy. And my sweet spot is really talking to the warm audience. What has been the challenge for us is to get the cold audience. So we've spent this last year really looking at what are the pain points that people have on Pinterest that are not in our audience, and what are their pain points based on their level too? Because there's people who are coming to us that maybe they're moving away from Instagram, or they want to diversify, and they're saying, how do I use Pinterest? They're really back at this basic level. So then we began to think, okay, how can we really connect with the cold audience in this very new way, like the beginner, and then maybe those who are intermediate. So we did do Facebook ads over the last 15 months, primarily with those lead magnets. And then we had another strategy we layered on top of that, was to do challenges. That was new. We've done 2 so far, and we committed to 3 because we wanted to get enough data based on the 3 that we did. And that was just to a 3-month membership. So we could get them in for 3 months. And what we found is that if we could get them in for 3 months and they loved our community, they were going to continue. So we did these 5-day challenges, and that has been fantastic for cold leads because that's where we were really struggling. So we just got done with one of those, and we have toyed with the idea of a webinar model, kind of this masterclass model, which we will try with our other membership, the Promoted Pins membership. That will be an open closed cart model. So we kind of have this great ability to have 2 going along at the same time, to be able to test what works with one and what works with the other one. And I think, if anything, I've learned that everything requires a lot of testing and a lot of patience, and it definitely doesn't happen overnight.
I didn't know that you had 2 different memberships, one for organic and one for pay. Do you find that you have some members that are in both of your membership, or is it just, somebody focuses on organic, that's all they do, and then some people focus on paid?
Yeah, we do have some that will join both, but we have found that there's a lot of people who are afraid of ads or really nervous about them. And so they might have a team member who's already working on their organic Pinterest strategy. So they wouldn't need the collective. They would need our society, which is just for ads. So they'll join that. And other people don't want to ever spend money on ads. They just don't believe that that's a part of their business. So they will only stay with the collective. So it's really interesting. We're still learning a lot about the people that we're serving. We also get a lot of people who come to us who do this as a business. So either there's people who are Pinterest managers or virtual assistants that they are just doing organic, and then they're also doing ads. So we get a lot of those people coming to us as well.
Is there any type of business that ads tend to work better for on Pinterest?
Yeah, we tend to think those who are selling an actual physical or digital product, or you know exactly how much your email subscriber is worth to you. If people can have a strong metric attached to whatever their conversion is, we tell them that that's the number one way to go. And it also has to be a lower cost product. It's hard to have ads work unless they're like awareness ads for something that's a more expensive product, because it takes a long time for Pinterest users to decide to buy. They're not immediate. They are gatherers. They gather a lot of information. So when it comes to a smaller priced product, something like, you know, a candle or something like that, that might be easier to get them to buy right away. But if it's something like a $200 or $300 product, you would want to go the route of really getting them on your email list to nurture them or offering them a discount code.
Hey there, Destiny here, and I'm the host of the Creators MBA podcast. And this episode is brought to you by HelloContent.shop, your go-to destination for content creation in your online digital product business. I understand how busy you are as an online business owner. I am right there with you. And that is why I have filled our Hello Content Shopify store with low-cost digital products that you can use as a lead magnet or part of your paid programs like your online courses or memberships. We also have marketing templates like email swipe files and social media templates designed to save you time and money. So whether you're looking to streamline your content strategy, enhance your digital products, or just save some precious time, I've got you covered, my friend. Now visit the HelloContent.shop today and take the first step towards effortless content creation. So let's talk a little bit about numbers. And you can pick one of your latest launches and go through that. I know you just had a challenge, I believe, for your organic membership. How are things like for you today? Like generally, how many people do you get into a challenge and how does that convert for you?
Yeah, I will say that's really fresh in my mind just because we had one in January and then we had one in April. And I will say one of the big distinguishing factors from January to April, and the biggest aha moment for me, was I hadn't really owned the element of selling and pitching. I think that I had had a bad experience a couple of years ago when somebody was guiding me through courses and webinars, and they had given me a webinar model with a pitch at the end. And it was very, I don't know a good word for it, sleazy, I guess, like salesman like.
Or
And
just didn't fit your personality.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly. It did not fit my personality at all. And so I really rejected this whole idea of selling. And I realized going to our January launch into this April launch, mid-April challenge, I realized, hey, I don't have a pitch ready. I don't even know if I sold last time in our January challenge. And so I reached out to a couple friends and I said, can I see what you're doing in your webinar model, in your challenges? What are you saying to people at the end? Because I just need to read it. And that was probably the number one factor that helped our sales boost this second time compared to the first time. So that first challenge, we did 5 days. We got people in through Facebook ads, cold leads. I think we paid in that one, because Facebook ads have changed so much in the last couple of months. We paid probably around $4 a lead at that time. And we got maybe around 2,400 people into the challenge. And we only ended up selling, I think I maybe sold one on the final day of the challenge because I didn't pitch. I really didn't sell them on it, but I delivered great information and I gave them a lot of value. People came back and said, this was so helpful. I learned so much. I probably told them I probably taught too much. So then going into the second one, when we got to the end, I really prepared a really structured pitch that felt like me. And I sold 8 right away at the end of our challenge. And then we sold 24 in the first 24 hours with a bonus. And then we kept our that sale open. Cart's open all the time, but we kept that sale open until Thursday. And I think we ended our numbers including we do a strategic downsell at the end for a 1 month, 2 days after the cart closes for that. I think we ended up with 68, and before we ended up with 42. So it was it made a lot of difference between January and April.
Yeah, that's a huge difference. And that just kind of shows everybody, just keep at it, tweaking it, figuring out what you need to change. In your challenge, what did you do? At the end, did you do like a webinar with the sales pitch, or what were you just talking about it throughout the entire challenge?
Yeah, I would say that probably on day 3 was when I had all these aha moments and people were sharing with me more what they did in their challenge. And I hadn't talked about it a lot up until that point, and I realized I should have been planting the seed. So I would say on day 5, what I did every single day was broken down into just teaching time in the morning. They got it in their email. It was a pre-recorded video where I could teach them. And then in the afternoon, we went live for 30 minutes. And that 30 minutes was really following up on what that day's topic was, and then giving people the ability to ask questions. So then on that Friday, I still followed that same model, but then I started it out with, hey, I'm going to talk to you about a special deal I have at the end to continue this conversation with me, to continue coaching. And we're going to go into how we can keep this momentum up, because I felt like that was such a big part too, that people were really engaging throughout the week and they were commenting and they were loving it. And I wanted to capture that. So we still held that same type of system that we had for every single day of the week. I just made it more of a sale at the end of that particular day. But I will tell you, one of the things I learned right away is that we are going to shorten our challenge. We're going to do 3 days, and then we're going to do a break. And then on day 5, I think I am going to do more of the webinar like model at the end, because I really want to see how that works.
And are you going to shorten it because you're just finding that people lose interest or they drop off during a 5-day challenge?
Yeah, we actually found that it wasn't so much they dropped off. It was that I have a propensity to overteach because it's just my natural tendency is to go into giving them so much. And we found that people just couldn't catch up a little bit. So we needed to add this catch up day. And then on day 5, give them a little bit of something else, but really lead them towards the membership.
And you mentioned that your collective membership is opened all year, but during this time, you just had some special bonuses for them?
Yeah, we had special bonuses and a discount.
Okay.
So then if they joined for the 3 months, they would get a discounted rate, plus they would get some special bonuses.
So Kate, you've had a lot going on. You've already had 2 launches this year. What else do you see in your business for the remainder of the year?
Yeah, great question. So with Simple Pin and how we've grown it, we have the agency side, which is really the clients on the organic and the promoted, and then the teaching side. And one of the things this year was we really had to get strategic about the planning and the strategy and the vision for each one of those departments. So we implemented a new tool called EOS. It was through the Book of Traction. And so for us this year, it's really getting smart about tracking our data, looking at where people are coming in, looking at the collective and saying, okay, how long have people been on our list? How long does it take them to join? What pathway do they join through? And I think with coming upon 8 years of being in business, we have a lot of data to look back on, but we just haven't used it. So I would say this year feels strategic. And it feels very like we're getting into honing in on who and how we can really connect with them where they're at and give them what it is they need in their business to be successful when it comes to Pinterest marketing.
And you mentioned that was based on the book Traction?
Yeah, correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a book, and they have a whole suite of books that help facilitate it, but they have Traction and Rocket Fuel. And then EOS is Entrepreneurial Operating System, and that's the model that they teach.
Okay, very good. Closing question. You've been doing this for a while. You have a lot of experience, both as a course creator, a membership owner, and an entrepreneur and running an agency. What advice do you have for other online course creators or entrepreneurs out there?
I think the biggest thing, and this actually happened when I started my course for the first time, is I really got caught up in the comparison trap of what other people were doing. And so I found myself really kind of chasing other people's success and their model instead of putting my head down and going, okay, who do I serve? Clients, customer, community. I don't serve other influencers. I don't serve other course creators. So, how can I ensure that I keep so laser focused on that? And I think that's the advice I would give to people is you have this idea and you have this unique way that you do things. Don't get caught up in other people's income reports or how much other people make. Really just stay focused on who is in front of you and has said, yes, I want to learn from you, and give them that and give them that in your unique way that you present it. So I think that's what I would pass on in the wisdom that I have from when I got caught up in creating courses. I was really looking at how other people were creating courses instead of how I should do it.
And I think that's some great advice. And I think a lot of people can relate to what you personally went through in terms of the comparison to other people out there. And you don't want to do that because you ended up going down, you launched a course, right? And you learned that that wasn't the best way to deliver the content that you needed to deliver, and ended up switching anyway. So that is some great advice there. Kate, where can people find you?
Yeah, I'm at simplepinmedia.com and then at simplepinmedia on all social channels. Pinterest is one that we are really active on. So if you want to go there and just see what it is we're doing and playing around with, I know we didn't get a chance to talk too much about video pins and story pins, but we've been experimenting with them a lot. So if you go to our profile, you can see what we're doing and what some of those look like just to get examples.
And I was just thinking, what I wanted to mention, we have to have you back on just to do more of a teaching Pinterest type podcast episode and dig into some of that.
Yeah, I would love to anytime.
Thank you so much, Kate, for joining us. We loved hearing about your story and all the things that you have accomplished in your business.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you love the show, we'd appreciate a review on Apple Podcasts or your favorite podcast platform, and show us some love there. Have a great rest of your day, and bye for now.